Hey, welcome back to the channel. Got a little something on the bench I'm working on here. So this is kind of a continuation of the UWL build. I kind of had to abruptly run and take off last time. Just kind of seeing, getting in and doing like a hangout, just working on something. I figured while I'm working on something, maybe I'll live stream it. Trying to get used to this live stream stuff. I like it because I think it's immediate interaction and I don't have to sit there and type. I don't have to like chat out so much information. So I don't know. We'll try it again. See what happens. How's it going, Joshua? Thanks for coming in. Patchy Smoke. I'm doing pretty good. Today's a nice day. It's a little bit chilly, kind of a brisk breeze. Um, Definitely flyable, but I don't think I have that much time to go out to the field today. So I'm working on this UWL build. Last time while I was working on it, I was just getting everything, as far as fitment concerns and measurements for wiring and stuff. So I've got everything wired up to the flight controller. This is the flight controller I used for the, that's the Super B. On my channel, I had a video where the processor went out and the RX loss. So I fixed that. I took the processor off, cleaned it all up, and then reflowed the processor back to the board, and it works great. I've already flew it line of sight, made sure, it could do everything I needed to do. And then I went ahead and wired up some cob lights. So this will be I've seen the cob lights. I think they're really neat, and this is the first time I'm going to use them. So these are 5-volt cob lights. I think they're the 2.2 millimeter, maybe 3, the real small cob lights. So kind of excited to have that. Normally I'm running the 1206 LEDs. Apache's getting ready to fly in China. I would like to go to Shenzhen just to kind of see some of the places. I've talked to so many over time. I don't want to lose them little dudes. So yeah, I figured I'd jump on the stream here, work on this build. Yeah, this is kind of my go-to now as far as I don't really fly the 65 millimeters anymore. I don't know if I'm going to go back to flying them or not. I just know that those little rascals are I don't know. It's fun and all, but this is where I've kind of been passionate about for a lot of years. Here, just to give you an example, this is one of my very first builds. It has AKK came out with the smallest VTX on the market, and the camera is just like a generic Amazon camera. You see that camera tilt? Yeah. What is that, about 12 degrees? But it still flies. But 75 millimeter, that's kind of where it's at. I throw my bench on the ground. This bench has been doing pretty good. I found it in the trash. I mean, I had to put some plywood on it because the wood was rotten. Oh yeah, that's right. You're going to T-Motor and Radio Master. Man, I tell you what, I wish T-Motor would sponsor a Beast class build. That stuff is so awesome. So I got all my wires set up. I'm just gonna kind of see where I want to fit these dudes. Yeah, my little yellow thunder. I have to make sure I'm using the right. I get out my manuals here. Look at all these manuals. Just, yeah, you gonna ask for me? See if they'll want to sponsor a build. I tell you what, that'd be something. I don't know if you're aware, but I've started a drone club, um, and we have a few members. But it's a very large facility, and it's outdoors, of course. So I actually have somewhere I could fly it. Something like that's going to take up a lot of space. All right, so let's see here. We got TX2 on blue. Let me keep this handy real quick. I'm running the HD0 off of the HD0 off of the LiPo directly. You guys working on anything right now? Like current project? I see there's five in here. Curious to wonder. I'm gonna flash the firmware on these two. Looks like chat is coming up pretty good. Can you read chat pretty good? Seems a little small. He's lurking. Nothing on the bench right now. Joshua, you got a He-Wing T1. You got one on order, you should say. Yeah, I thought about a wing. I went to a FPV festival, and it was kind of everything FPV. So it wasn't just drones; it was all kinds of FPV, even crawlers and everything. And there were some guys there with some wings. One of them, of course, was pretty impressive. It's a Drake, and it was just huge, and the vibration from the motor and props kind of resonated through the whole deck of that thing. And when it would just go overhead, it just sounded gnarly. I don't really have space for something like that. I wouldn't have a way to transfer it to the field. I need to get me some more antennas here. This is one that I've kind of deconstructed to get this one done. Need to get some more parts. So I think I'm going to wrap this around. I'm kind of using a little bit of wire here, but I kind of like to have enough wire to where if I need to work on it later, if I need to go in and take stuff apart, I have space to do that. Just don't want to get to the point where I got so much wire it's adding unnecessary weight. Just gonna skew that board off a little bit there. Yeah, it's kind of fun building these little dudes. Sometimes it gets annoying because everything's so small. Quadmala F-35 split. You know, I have to admit, I'm not really familiar with what all that is. Quadmala with a F-35 split. Yeah, the wings and the helicopters have gotten away from me. The wings, I haven't really done enough research to know exactly what they are. And then the helicopters, I left them a while back. So much has changed with helis. Anybody in here fly RC helis? I would probably do it again if I could afford it. But I tell you what, one crash is just, I mean, it's just too expensive. And I can't just fly it. You know what I mean? I can't just fly it, and cruise around and have fun. I've got to test my abilities and try to do like reverse cyclone and like I'm gonna crash it. So I don't even try. I gave up on all that. First kid came, it was over. King, how you doing? Welcome in. Just kind of hanging out. I thought, well, while I'm down here working on something, I'd fire up the live stream and see if anybody else out there was building something. Yeah, too costly. Yeah, it's just too much. I mean, it's okay if you're gonna go and fly and just kind of have a little fun. Some of the some of the helicopters out there can get really expensive. But man, I hate to say it, they've changed so many things on the smaller ones, that they're much more stable, they're not as twitchy, they have built-in gyros and everything. So part of me was thinking like, man, that would be that would be pretty cool just to fly one nowadays. I wanted to get a T-Rex, um, T-Rex 500. That was kind of what I wanted to get. I still enjoy it though. I like to go to places where there's people doing some 3D stuff, a little competition action. I've decided to bring these wires up to the top because when I'm out when I'm at a race or something and something happens, I like to be able to access them and fix them. I had one build where I put the wires on the underside and then I had to take it all apart. Not building anything. King says he ain't building anything or fixing anything today. Yeah, I've got some couple batteries charging up for this one. Junlock, how you doing? What would be a good build for the new 1S DJI unit? You know, I haven't messed around with DJI. You know, all their stuff right now. The only DJI I have is the V2 goggles and the Vistas. I have one Air unit, but I haven't flown it in a while. Everything I've got is analog, except for just a couple, my Super Duper, and then I've got a 5-inch. Yeah, I was actually unaware of a DJI 1S. I think Walksnail came out with a. I think Walksnail came out with a 1S. I called Walksnail and asked them if they would send me their stuff, and I understand that, you know, all of their stuff is kind of pricey. So, you know, as far as like just sending it for free, I didn't expect that, but I thought maybe they'd send it to me so I could test it out and, you know, see what all they had going on. And then, you know, I'd send it back. I just wanted to check it out. And they replied that my country has limited out, so that they didn't have any more for my country. So I'm gonna run the essay on this one because I may end up doing some testing later, and I might end up changing firmware back and forth. So just so I have that on there, I'm gonna leave it on. So you might be asking, why am I hooking up all the wiring, but kind of future proofing. I tell you one thing about 75 millimeter. In my I think the reason why I like it so much is because 75 millimeters great indoors and outdoors. You know, it it does pretty good outdoors as long as it ain't real windy. But I've got, I mean, you can go to my channel and see the last few videos I've done, you know, like freestyle outdoors and stuff has been the UDL whoop. So it's great indoors because you can really push on it. Any bigger than 75, you can't really push on it unless your house is like, you know, really good size house. I don't live in a big house, so I don't worry about it. And we got T2 to R2, R2 to T2, which is my white. I'm trying to leave this on the bench so you could see it, and I just realized that my picture. Let me move my picture real quick. Sorry about that. You guys probably ain't even able to see what I've been doing the whole time here. Oh, that ain't gonna work either, is it? Oh yeah, there you go. How's that? Is that better? Yeah, just chilling before the work week starts. Hypnos, what's up, man? How you doing? Yeah, 75 millimeter indoors all day. You know, I it's funny because I go to the races and everybody's racing 15, 16, 17 gram 65 millimeter quads, and I'm doing my due diligence to keep up with them. You know, I'm 41 grams, so I have a lot more fun. I just I just focus on announcing and trying to keep everybody happy and get some racing in. Brewery, how you doing? Welcome to the live stream. Just want to say thank you for all your videos. I've learned so much from you. Hey, I appreciate your support. That's what it's all about. Things I learn, I share with other people, and then they share it, and then next thing you know, we don't have issues with that anymore, whatever that may be. All right, so that pretty much concludes all the solder work. So I'll just kind of nestle these wires in here real good so we don't have any issues. I use a nylon tweezer whenever I'm messing around with wires. Won't rip the silicone. That's it. Put the camera on and put the canopy on. Let's go ahead and do our continuity check and put a battery to it. I've got my antenna on. Now I did on the Super Bee. So on the Super Bee originally, there's a small metal antenna. I think it was metal. And I removed that and I put a 26 gauge wire in place of it at the correct length. And I actually soldered it on the other side of the board. So that would be that little spot right there. So the antenna's on the other side of the board. So if you see the Super Bee and you're like, wait a minute, that's why. I like having the antenna come out of the top, and then I hot glue it to the frame here. Yeah, see, that's the fun part. Like King says, 75 millimeter, you fly it out the window, come back to the house. So it's pretty good outside and it's pretty good inside. Yeah. You beat me at the Halloween race with yeah, that was a fun race. I was super stoked too because I was trying so hard to beat my 21-second time. I think it was 21 seconds. I might be exaggerating there, but I was just that's the thing, I feel like I just compete against myself, so I don't have to. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to think about it. I can announce and not have all the worries about it. So I use this lead here, just to show you, and then in here I've got the HD0 running off of the LiPo, so I've kind of doubled up on the LiPo, and then I've ran my LEDs to the 5-volt pad. So the only thing on the Super Bee, the only thing on here on the 5-volt rail is the LEDs, and then the internal peripherals, so the RX and everything too. But the HD0 is running directly from the LiPo battery lead. So everything looks good. Don't have any funny business going on. We'll check our 5-volt rail real quick. Yep, all good on the 5-volt rail. So let me grab a LiPo real quick. And I tell you what, I can't even look at them things. Those LEDs are absolutely insane. I mean, just absolutely insane how bright them are. You can't see it on this film. I could take this by itself and light up an entire room if it's dark. You know what I mean? So if you haven't, I just blinded myself again. Those green LEDs are super bright. All right, so we'll get the camera hooked up. So all my soldering work is good. Yeah, man, that's something else. I don't know. I really like the old school 1206 LEDs. You know, just for an example. So this is my my trusty here. This quad only competes in point races. The other one is the one I use for regular races like open class racing and freestyle and stuff. But you see that? Those 1206 LEDs, those are so cool. Let's take a vote. There's 12 people watching. Let's take a vote. So here's 1206 LEDs. Here's the front view. Okay. And here's the back view. UDL spec says that you have to be able to see 2 LEDs from any orientation. So as your quad turns, you must be able to visually see 2 LEDs. So this counts. But 1206 LEDs versus 5-volt cob light LED. Which do you prefer? So there's the back and there's the front. Now I didn't wrap mine around. A lot of people wrap them all the way around the frame. I just wanted them on the edges. Cob light or 1206? You like my box? The box has a dual purpose. You drop that in there, the box actually trues the frame back up. So the frame will be level and the ducts will be rounded back out. So after you get done racing and your ducts are all bent up and you know the frame's not square anymore. See how square that is? Perfectly level. So I got these little pedestals in here. So I drop it in. And then this piece of foam on the lid, when I shut it, locks in. And then that piece of foam keeps that frame compressed against the, so it retrues my quad back up for me. That's kind of neat, huh? Yeah, the new one. So King says he likes the cob light. Yeah. Yeah, the 1206s are, I don't know, the 1206s are pretty bright. They'll light up a whole room. I think they're a lot easier to replace because I made the little resistor pack in here and the wires just unlap a little bit and then I could pull the entire guts of this quad off the frame and put it into another frame. Since I did this with the cob lights, I can't do that. I'm most likely going to unsolder it and then I'll have to heat this frame up and unattach the cob lights. So this one is like real easy to just take apart and move and then reheat the LEDs back into position. This one here is going to be nightmare if I have to replace the frame, which you know I will. All right, we're gonna jump into beta flight here and see what you guys hear me. Okay, my audio good? Ain't like blowing out or not at all. Jump over to beta flight here. So I just need to, I'm going to look at my current quad. Just jump in here and check and see what it is. 443. That's a crazy B. 1280. 443. Okay. Nice thing about not having the HD0 connected to the 5-volt rail, when you plug in USB, you're not having to worry about that. Oh, that's crazy. And then 44. What'd I say? 443? Somebody remind me. I said 443, didn't I? Hypno says 1206. Super Fun Volt, how you doing? Fun per volt. I said Super Fun Volt. Oh yeah, I see what you mean, King. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, kind of it diffuses all into. I also have hot glue over the 1206 to kind of make a little bit of a lens so it bounces around a little more. Yeah, I bet I can fly that one in a dark room. The cob lights will light up a whole room a lot more. Audio's good, thanks. MFR FPV, what's up? Yeah, I think I said 443. You know what? Let me actually I have a file open here. Let me see. I actually have the dump file open in another screen. I'll just go look. 443, okay. All right, so that looks all right. So let's go ahead and load that. Flash it. I'm not worried about all the other stuff because I'm gonna dump file. I'm gonna run an entire dump file on this that includes the CAC firmware and everything. Now things have been updated, so if you're not keeping up with UDL, previously known as UWL, there's new firmware that you have to flash. So you're going to have to flash a totally different firmware. So it's kind of going along the Street League way. And then there's going to be a boost. So you have 3 5-second boost capability during a race. So you could put it on a momentary button or something. I don't know when I'm going to test that. Should be soon because points races are coming up here pretty quick. But for Buckeye FPV racing, we're not having them until the first of the year. So I'm not worried about it for the 2024 year. UDDWL. All right, so we're good here. Everything's done. Apply custom defaults, and then I'm gonna head and connect. Yeah. Go to CLI. Now in the background here, I have my entire dump file. So I'm just gonna grab that. It's gonna take a little while to grab all that. So the only thing I'll have left to do is dump file this and then put the camera and canopy on, throw some props on it, do the motor direction, make sure motor direction and all that's done. Because I think the flight controller's in the same exact orientation. So I shouldn't have any issue with board alignment. Bear with me, I'm still copying this dump file. I don't know if it's because I'm running so much on this, it's moving pretty slow. That's a lot of information. Anybody going to get out and fly this weekend? Hey, take it easy, King. Have a great day. Yeah, this weekend kids are having a little shing-ding, so I'm not going to be getting out and flying. And then Sunday's the race, so that'll be it for me. I'm still sitting here copying down this information. I'm almost done. Yeah, I thought it'd be kind of fun to get out and fly sometime this week, but with the time change, it's like it's dark before you even get done with dinner now. All right, make sure we don't have any errors. Looks like we're running good here. So we got past all the, oh, there's one, there's two. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to run a diff file instead. So yeah, probably just whoop around the house this weekend. You can't make Sunday's race? Oh yeah, that's right. You mentioned that. Tell you what, I'm not gonna run this. I'm not gonna run this dump file. Just disconnect here. I'm gonna grab. I'm gonna grab this one real quick and check. .443 RPM CAG. Crazy B. So let's look for that. 443 RPM CAG. Let's go ahead and do that because I ran the wrong firmware on that. That's okay because we didn't save it. Whenever I collect my dump or diff files, I never copy the save command. So that way you can not put it in if you don't want it. See if I can find this. I hate to say it, but the way I'm filming this, or for the live stream, I'm kind of got wires all over my head here. Four, 4, 3. Try to find it. There it is. 442. 443. Where'd you go? That ain't what I wanted. What'd they do? Get rid of it? 4, 5. I'm pretty sure I had 443 on there. They must have got rid of it. I don't see it here. Go back to my notes here. I worry if I put the 442 on. Yeah, so 443 RPM CAC. So October 2nd. October 2nd. Let's see here. Yeah, it looks to me like they removed the one I'm using. Speedy B. Or Super B. Crazy B. Yep, they've removed it. I don't see it now. 443 CAC. That'd be the closest one. That's too bad I didn't save the file. We'll run the 442 and then possibly be able to dump in what we need to without errors. All it is just the CAC snippet and my OSD settings and all that modes and receiver and all that stuff, so it shouldn't be too bad. So we'll grab the other quad and we'll just take a copy of the diff file and hopefully it'll work. All right. We'll disconnect them and then we'll reconnect my current racing quad. Pull a diff file off of it. And then we won't save the save function. So that's 443. You see it right there. It says 443. Copy that to the clipboard. Plug in this other one here. So we should be all done. Hopefully those versions aren't too far off. Make sure my OSD is the way I like it. HD, yep, all that's there. Not sure what this unknown is. Unknown down at the bottom. That might be the CAC message. And then we'll go to motors, mode. So all my modes are set up the way I like them. Also have to check the firmware on that, but we can go ahead and pop a LiPo in here. So let me go ahead and unplug him. Jump back over to the bench here. So we'll go ahead and we got him plugged in. We'll put a LiPo onto him. And then we'll go ahead and check the motor rotation and stuff. Actually, you know what? Let me disconnect from Betaflight. I'm going to put the props on. So yeah, that's kind of the nice thing about having the HD0 on the LiPo only, because you can do everything you need to do in Betaflight without having that thing burning up. It gets really hot. So I'm running props out. I run props out on everything. I don't run props in on anything. Props out has saved me way too many times. I've hit gates and bounced right off of them. I've hit trees. I've hit buildings, and the props get damaged, but it bounces me off, so I don't get stuck. You know, like, you know, it doesn't grab a hold of it. So obviously we're playing with the whoop here, so I'm not too worried about the props being on when we're in Betaflight. So go ahead and fire up the motors tab. I guess I'll go Betaflight so you can see what I'm doing. So go into the reorder motors. We're just going to make sure, so I'm plugging in a LiPo now. We're just going to make sure that they're in order. I think my LiPo must be too low. Let me grab a different one. Unplug it and plug it back in after all those changes. I forgot to reset it. Let me jump back in here. Oh. All right. So just, You can see that that motor is spinning. So this is the front and this is the back. Okay. So we go back over to beta flight. And we're just going to choose each one. So each motor is going to spin. And then this is really cool because we don't have to go in and remap anymore. We don't have to, you know, because that was a real pain. The amount of people involved in beta flight is something else. You know, they've come a long way, and I appreciate it. And now I'm just going to check for direction. So I'm just holding this down, and right now I'm feeling air come out the top of it. So that's not changing. So that one's wrong as well. That one's wrong. So it looked like all four of them need done, but for some reason none of them are changing in beta flight. So now I'm going to have to go to the ESC firmware and change it. So I'll go ahead and disconnect from here. I think everything else looks pretty good. We're just going to go up to setup screen and make sure I'm going to hold my quad as level as I can facing the computer here. So right now you can see that if I pitch forward, it pitches to the right, and I pitch to the right and it pitches back. So I'm counterclockwise a 90-degree off. So you can see here that this is all so I'm going to just board orientation. I'm just going to put that 90 degrees. See if that works. So go back in here and go to setup screen, realign here, and then pitch forward. So now I actually went 90 degrees one way. So let's go back here. Set that to counterclockwise 90. Well, they took that away, or maybe it's new. I don't know. So now I'm going to reset it. Pitch forward, right, back, left, upside down. So we're all good there. Pretty level right there. Looks pretty level on the screen, so I'm cool with that. So now we'll go ahead and close beta flight, and we'll open up JES configurator so we can finish the motor rotation to make sure they're correct, since beta flight won't change them for us. Jump back over here to the bench. See if anybody's come in. Check on chat here. My looks like my camera froze up. There we go. Back in business. Board orientation be a bit of a struggle. Yeah. Yeah, just turning it and then thinking in your mind, and like in 3D, if you were to, like, how would you make it turn? So if you went 90 degrees, or you're trying to turn it spatially in your mind, how many 45-degree clocks do you need to go to make it work? All right, so we're going to go ahead and open up. So my radio is off. Pretty important for that. And we're going to jump over to JESC configurator, or Blue Jay. We'll go to Blue Jay and do it. So we got the Blue Jay. So let me see here, make sure I get you guys to come along with me. Blue Jay configurator. All right, so we have our radio off. That's kind of a big deal because if your radio's on, you can lose one of your ESCs. So now we're gonna read. Is that coming in clear for you? So we're gonna plug the quad in. Go ahead and connect, and then we'll plug in a LiPo and we'll read the settings here. Oops, let me plug in a LiPo and we'll plug in here. All right, read settings. So we have normal, 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 normal. So I'm going to reverse all of them because all 4 of them were going the wrong direction. And that also depends on which way your 3 wires are plugging into the board. See, I thought I was soldering them all to be reverse, and I soldered them all to be normal. If that makes any sense to you. It depends on the 3 phases of wire. So if you take these 2 outside wires and you swap them, that's reverse. If you swap them or rotate these 2 outside wires, you can reverse your motor direction or you can normal your motor direction just by changing those 2 phases. I thought I had got them all spinning the right way, but I didn't. So I just reversed them all, and then I'm going to write these settings. Is my cursor coming up on the screen? All right, and that should be it. I'll go ahead and disconnect here, and then we'll go back over to Betaflight and fire up the motors. So go ahead and close this screen here. So you don't want to have Betaflight and Blue Jay open at the same time. Let's see here, and you guys are awesome for hanging in there. And it always is cumbersome trying to do these transitions. So going to Betaflight here and connect up to that. Go ahead and reset the board after doing our JESC configurator. Come on, work with me here, would you? Maybe getting a little hot. Sounds good. That one's good. That one's good. That one's good. So our motor direction, our motor assignment, our orientation, everything is done. So this dude is ready to fly. So cool. All I got to do now is just put him back in the fleet log. Let me see here. Disconnect him. So this should be all done, ready to go. All built up and ready to go. I just have to add the camera to it. So I'm gonna go ahead and put him in the canopy first. You know, it's kind of a bummer. HD0 don't make that camera anymore. That's sad. That's the Nano Light. HD0 Nano Light. Isn't that sad they don't make that anymore? The other one, if I put the other one in here, the camera will exceed. So this is the newbie drone Goober canopy, and I shaved the. They have like a shroud on here, and the shroud emits light into the lens. This camera actually sits far enough back so it doesn't hit the ground, so I'm not too worried about it. And the cool thing about this is this takes a standard Whoop motor screw. So the mounting screws for the motors, you can use that to mount the camera. So that was kind of cool. Anybody have any events or races or anything coming up? Anything neat? I run 45-degree camera angle, but I always set my camera angle after I get it in the quad, because I use the quad to set the camera angle. I don't look at the camera so much as I look at the quad. So I'm just going to go ahead and put it kind of where I think it might be, and then I'll finish it once it's in the quad. Now here's something I found out about the Goober canopy and the HD0 Whoop light. The canopy sits far enough down. Oops, I just put that camera in there upside down. So anyway, the MIPI cable in between the canopy and the board, that MIPI cable can get cut on one of the components. So right here, let me see here. So like right here on this, on the edge of this chip, so like right there, it'll cut that MIPI cable. So I've been putting a little plastic spacer in between there to lift the canopy up just a little bit. I've got like little nylon spacers. So you might want to look at that if you're running the Goober, the newbie drone Goober canopy with the HD0 Whoop light bundle with the Nano light camera. You might want to look at the amount of spacing in there, because it's just enough that if you hit something good enough that camera, that if the camera were to rotate like that inside the canopy, it'll cut the MIPI cable. So just by putting a little spacer on all four sides, it lifts it up just high enough to where that MIPI cable will clear and not get cut. That's frustrating. So yeah, I'll just put it kind of roughly where I think it should go. Not going to tighten it up, just give it a little snugness so it doesn't rotate around by itself. Get him inside. Yeah, I have to say that I feel like some of my passion for the hobby has come back by flying HD0 75 millimeter whoops. You know, HD0 65 millimeter whoop, it just wasn't competitive. I I can't see that fast. So to be competitive in analog 65 millimeter racing, it's just not something that I'm able to do. And then you don't have fun doing it. Kind of defeats the purpose of it. So I keep a little stock here of little nylon washers for 2 millimeter. Kind of makes it a little bit more annoying when you're having to take it apart because these washers want to come out. But I'd much rather have a little inconvenience of messing with these dudes and not have my nipple cable get cut off. Yeah, so your Hypno says he just decided to go 65 analog so he can compete with the fast boys. I just think I don't know. I haven't tested out the all-in-one. You know, the HD0 5-in-1. I haven't tested it out, and I think there's a couple people that have one that are supposed to bring it to the last race, but nobody had it. So I have got to see it fly. So I got to see it in the goggles when I was at IO. I think Custom FPV, he flew it. Ryan Hewlett was flying it too, I think. So I did get to see it there and then look it over, and then I got to see a bind and fly at the GAPS training ground. So it looks promising. I mean, you're talking like HD0 65 millimeter racing at like 20 grams, and I'm sure if you modified it a little bit, it probably wouldn't take much to get 19. And then that's how much my analog builds weighed, was 18.9, I think it was. Because I just didn't want to go any less, because the more weight you shave off, the less destructive you can be. And you know me, I'm a professional crasher. I mean, I don't try to crash, but I get excited. My second passion, that phone call that just popped up, that's my second passion. Drag racing. Man, used to be all in that stuff. You want to talk about a hobby that gets expensive really fast. Drag racing is bonkers. That's the only thing about the live stream. I feel like I'm working in this corner because I'm trying to do so much filming. Let me move some stuff out the way. I mean, we're done soldering, so I can put some of this stuff away now. If you're curious about these little 30 gauge wires, if you go to my Amazon store, FPV stuff, I think it is. I think I have that in there. I'll check and make sure, but there. How about we move it to the center there? Is that better? My lighting is kind of crummy, isn't it? Like I said, it's kind of spur of the moment. I wanted to get down here and work on this, and I thought, why not? Why not pop up a live stream so you guys can hang out? Anybody that wanted to ask some questions, feel free to ask questions. I may not have all the answers because I don't know. I don't know everything, but I'm willing to share whatever I do know. Yeah, isn't that something? You know it too. The hypnosis saying I'm a pro crasher too. And I know if I stop crashing so much, I'd do a lot better. It's funny because when you're watching people race, um, I like to kind of see, what are they doing on the sticks, and then you watch some people that they don't even look like they're that fast, but they end up finishing so well because they're just so consistent, little to no crashes. That one crash, what are you talking? 5, 6 seconds to recover out of that. And it's like, that if you divide that over your laps, 1 second each lap, and then you got 3 crashes, now you're talking 3 second gain on each lap. I mean, those crashes add up quick. There it is. It's done. Just need to set my camera angle. Probably do. So what I like to do for camera angles, I get a real good idea where the the flat side of that lens. So then I look at the lens, and then I look at the quad. So like right now, just looking at that. So if I try to match that up, so like right there is pretty square, and then the angle of the quad is what tells me what my angle is. So if I look at that degrees, I'm probably 30 degrees right there. See how the camera is square perpendicular with the floor in a way. And then I'm using the frame as my degrees. I don't put the frame straight and then look at my camera. It's too hard to tell. So it's about 30 degrees. So I'm gonna lift this dude up to 45. See if that's about right. So you look at the edge of that lens, nice and straight, perpendicular with the bottom here, and then look at the frame. See how the frame is like 45 degrees? That should be good. Because this is going to be one of my racers. Just snug him down. That's it. I do need to cut this wire and shorten it up. Oh, you know what? Actually, I might put a strain relief on this one. Let me do that. Got a whole bag of these. These are really unique wire ties. I got them from Banggood. You get 1,000 of them, but they're smaller than a 4. So your 4-inch regular 4-inch wire ties. These are actually smaller. I don't think they're as strong, but I don't need that much strength anyway. But they're really tiny. Let me see if I grab a 4. I don't have any 4-inch. Yeah, we'll get a wire tie in here and cinch this down. Make sure I don't include my LED wires. That That would bum me out. Actually, I need to put it through the top so the zip tie don't make a dent in my battery. I don't know. What do you guys think about that live stream hanging out? I've never really done it, and last time I did it, I thought it was kind of cool to people hang out. It's not that much of a bother for me, you know. It's not something that bugs me very much to have all the filming stuff going, as long as somebody's getting something useful or helpful out of it. You use the bubble level app to calibrate. Oh yeah, on your phone, so you rotate your phone with the quad to get it just right. That's a good idea. So I could probably shorten that dude up, probably 8 to 10 millimeters. Go ahead and put that extra wire inside the frame. I'm not real concerned about weight. As long as I'm having fun, I really don't care anymore. See if that does it. Yeah, that should do it. Go ahead and cinch that down. All right, cool. So now I got a strain relief, so if my battery gets ejected, it'll rip my wires instead of my board. I'd much rather replace those wires. There it is. A new UDL has been born. Make sure we get some video. Let me see here. Four Eyes, how's it going? Welcome to the live stream. If you stream it, they will come. Fun for Volt. I like that. Yeah, Hypnos is down with it too. What battery? That is a 450 mAh 1S. I'll get some more specs for you here just in a second. Let me grab my goggles and radio. Jump back over here. All right, so let me. So this battery's a Tat2 450 90C. So 1S 450 milliamp battery. So that's what the 75 frame accepts. And that's a spec battery for UDL 450 1S. I just recently got some quad gas batteries from Rec. I did race them. You know what? Hypnos, that might have been why I podiumed. Got new batteries with some juice. I don't know. Is that it? Can we say the batteries did it? I don't know. Is fourth place podium? Scratch that. I don't know if fourth. I always consider fourth place because it's a 4-up heat, and whenever you engage, if you take away iron mode and you activate chase the ace and double elimination, all that stuff, then I say fourth place is a podium. Ooh, my battery's really low on the goggles. All right, we got beautiful video. Yeah, looks good there. Let's give it a rip. I don't have any way to share that. When the HD0 monitor, it'd be kind of neat. Guess I ought to plug in my radio, huh? Probably unplug my quad. You know, there's still some stuff to do, you know, just to make sure everything is working properly. Do some final little adjustments, but for the most part, we are rocking and rolling. We'll see if it flips out. Make sure we got our orientation right. We go in and bind up the receiver. Oh, there it is right there. I was going to say it should have bound. I put in my... I have my... telemetry recovered. Receiver still connected. See if we get any telemetry data here. I have my bind phrase in, so should technically... Oh, that's super. Hold on. Healer S Whoop. That's what I'm looking for. So now I just got to go into Lewis script and say yes. I use model match. See if that did it. Sealing some new carbon. Super glue. Yeah, super glue will relaminate. There we go. All right, we're rocking and rolling. So this is an SPI built-in receiver, and I had to put my bind phrase in to make that work. Oh, she is so stable. I'm completely blind now, but All right. Need to make sure everything is done. I lost my video there.
Telemetry lost. Telemetry recovered.
I lost my video. Make sure I got my...
3.8.
All right, so that works.
Telemetry
Yeah, just
lost.
make sure we got a good race quad here.
Telemetry recovered.
All right, I got a video now. Give it a quick little rip. Oh, put that there. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Now, a 45-degree angle in a small room is not a very successful thing to try. But it sure does fly. That's it. She's done. I'm gonna race it this weekend. Sunday's gonna have a new ripper. Check on Chad here before I get too carried away. I want to take it outside right now. It's really windy though, but I don't care. That should be... I got another battery charging up. I'm definitely gonna go outside and rip this dude. Model match messed me up when I got it. Your whoop. Oh yeah. Yeah, you can turn it off. I mean, I'd never recommend turning it off just because I like the safety feature of it, but I mean, it's a whoop, so I'm not too concerned about it. I didn't even think about telling you that when you got those two quads. Rock and roll. That is a fun little ripper. I think it's pretty interesting. I can't get over these cob lights and how simple they are. You know, of course, you know, it's a pain to run all the wiring and everything, but man, is that something. They are just really bright. And then they stay bright, you know, because they're hooked up to the 5-volt rail, so they're constantly fed by 5 volts. I wanna thank HD0 and the UDL, because the HD0 Whoop Light bundle, I won at a race. So this quad wouldn't be sitting here right now if it wasn't for that race. So Isaac, I appreciate it, giving away the HD0 Whoop Light bundle at Champs. That was something else. So super stoked about that. And then I'm running his motors on this. So this is a tribute quad in a way. So yeah, all I have to do now is just clean up all this mess. I'm really stoked about this flight controller because this is the Super B that was in a 65 millimeter that was just absolutely cherry. I mean, that thing flew so good. It was precise in all its movements, very predictable. And then when that chip came off, are you familiar with that? I see that there's 9 people in here. Let me just make sure that if you have a board. Oh, there was something else I wanted to show. You know, I said earlier, beta flight and the people involved in that. I want to share something with you real quick. Let me pull my camera over here so I can see what I'm doing. So this is a website for, this is Betaflight. So these are all the people on the Betaflight team. So like if you're running Betaflight and you're like me using it, just for hobby and for the fun of it, and this is the team. This is what they have on their website. So these are the people that, if you see them on live streams or you see them in person, I think it'd be really fun to meet all of them in person. I've met a few of them at some multi GP events, but these are the people that are on the team, and I know that there's a lot more people contributing to it. Um, and it's all of us that are willing to learn something and then share that information. We're all part of the same team, The hobby is important. We must share it and expand it so that we get more people involved. And then when you get people involved that are willing to share and maybe donate their time, they take time out of their own day to help other people. It just makes the hobby better. So don't forget to share my community challenge. And then I'm gonna jump over here also to my website here, or to my YouTube. I want to make sure if you had any issues with that. I think it goes without saying that could be any flight controller. The processor's not soldered to the board correctly, so any flex in the board can basically pop that solder. I know, like, if you don't have the way to flow that, like you don't have an air station, you don't have all this stuff, you don't have the knowledge, skill, whatever the case may be, a lot of cell phone shops will do it. Like cell phone repair places, they'll sweat that processor back on there for you. Internet screen, let me see here. I want to make sure I'm capturing the right thing. Google, okay. We'll jump over here to my YouTube channel, and then so just take like a wooden chopstick. So it's right here. Super B is not dead. Happy model Super B issue RX loss. So that's the video. So you just take a chopstick and push down on it, and if the board comes back, everything starts functioning properly, then that's the component. It just needs to be reseated. I know a lot of people out there that have boards that, there's no RX. And for no reason, you're just flying along and all of a sudden hit the floor, you plug it back in, it says no RX. That could be why. So I fixed it and I got it in this quad now, and I'm super stoked. It only took me a year to fix it. Let's check in on chat here. I appreciate it, Patsy. I'm gonna try to have fun. I like to announce, and it's been pretty fun so far. Wonder if I can convert one of my 65 millimeter whoops to UDL. Need to read up on how the spec works. Yeah, so that's the only thing. The motors are 1900 kV. So, and then on the website, there's specific motors that have been approved for testing. So that's the other thing. You want to make sure that they're on the approved list. Other than that, just the motor. But yeah, you should be totally able to just take all the guts off, put it in a frame, get you some LEDs wrapped up on that dude, and put some new motors in there. You do have to flash. Now, mind you, the flash that I did is just so that I could get everything the same. I wanted everything the same, so I could just put my diff file on there, because I want to race on Sunday. I need to get some practice in on, and I'll probably get 25, 30 packs of practice in before the race. And then, so I just wanted to quickly do that. But UDL has changed the software. So the software has changed. You have to go get the hex file from the website, I think. Don't quote me on that. I haven't gone totally into looking at it. My biggest thing is like, I like to recommend the new people the 75 millimeter UDL. And why do I recommend that? Because if you build your 75 millimeter, like you're brand new, right? You've done the sim thing, you got bored with it, whatever the case may be, and you're wanting to do something, and you want you want to, you want something tangible, right? 75 is big enough that it can handle some abuse, and then you're building it for a spec that you can race later. Like you can take it to a race and compete with it in a spec race. I think more people are joining up, and more people are forming groups, and to have that experience. So I was at there's something that I would love to the right here, the team racing. This is something that's absolutely insane. I don't know if I got any volume on this or not. See, have you guys seen team racing? Where it's just nonstop. I know that this video just totally doesn't do it justice, but it's like just nonstop. There's no break. There's no waiting for people to get to the line. It's just nonstop. I'd like to check that out. I don't know if I'd want to be in the pits. I was hanging out with Kevin Turner, and we were watching, and I was kind of watching the guys in the pits, and I'm like, man, that's a lot of pressure. I think the SPI ELRS better than F. Oh yeah, yeah. Built-in SPI ELRS is definitely better than FR Sky. The FR Sky, that the range on it, and then how many times, you're talking about like the Mobula 6 all-in-one board. How many times this is the first UWL build. So this is it was kind of before UWL's first. It was technically not their first race. It was just kind of like a preliminary race or whatever. So this is the original, and that's not only that, but the VTX gets weaker and weaker. Fortunately, this one's been doing pretty good, but like the Mobula 6, actually, I think this one's rock and roll. I think I have there's two of them where the RX is, it's just fall out of the sky, fail safe. I actually have 533 to thank, because I couldn't have gone ELRS as far as I have. FPV Gaps is the one that like pushed me into it. He's like, you gotta do it. You gotta do it. I'm like, I'm not gonna do it yet. There's just too much money involved in swapping everything over. And he's like, nope, you gotta do it. You gotta do it. I was like, all right, I'll do it sometime. And at the time I was running my Radio Master T16S, and he bought a module, and he hands it to me and goes, you're gonna do it. So that's what started me. So thanks to him pushing on me. He does a lot of that. I don't know if you all know FPV Gaps, but he'll keep you in line. And so then I got lucky and I won at the museum. I won $100 gift card to 533. So I'm thanking them because I bought all ELRS receivers, the whole thing. So I got ELRS in a lot of things. I still have some FR Sky, so that's why my Zorro is a 4-in-1. I also fly some Hubsons and stuff because in 2012 that was my thing. Like I like the little Hubsons and some of the Hubsan camera stuff. So to be able to still fly all that stuff is great. I see there's nine people in here. Anybody have any questions? Because I'm gonna wrap things up. I feel pretty positive right now. So I got my Super B with the repaired processor in the works. Finally get that thing done. So ELRS made a big change. I have all my stuff on it now. Yeah. I need to I would like to mess around with the Gemini stuff, but you're talking about having to buy a new TX and then buying the you got to buy a new module and then the receivers, just the cost of all of it. But I'd like to put it on my 7-inch. So I got my 7-inch quad. It's hard to tell here. Let me see. You see it that I slammed the deck, so the deck is less than an inch thick. It's just menacing looking. You see how slammed that is? Barely fit the nano camera in there. This thing's a lot of fun. And like I said, I've got a place to fly it so I can open it up, So I'd like to put the Gemini on there. Because I can, with the DJI, I can actually outperform my EP. I think that one has the EP one in it. I think I just threw one in it so I could take it to the field and run it. But yeah. Please make a video on how to get phone repair shop to reflow or flight controller. Yeah. I should have filmed it. I don't, or no, I didn't film that. I did film. Let me see here. I did a microprocessor. You could show them that video. Let me jump back over to. Let's jump back over here to my YouTube channel, and then right here, this video. So if you show that to the, commercials. So that's the voltage regulator that went to the microcontroller. So here's the microcontroller here. So you could show them, basically that's a microcontroller. So that's not the processor, and you just have them take it off, clean it. So just go in and clean it up real good. And then, put it back in, a little paste. I didn't need any on here because there's plenty of solder. Look at that BB21. What an awesome microprocessor. Anybody having issues with your whoops where they fall out of the air and one motor won't spin anymore? I have EBR FPV. How's it going? Always enjoy my my coffee break. I catch your video. Yeah, so if you're interested, how do you pronounce that? Chaosinium? Chaosinium? Not real good with the pronunciation of names. But yeah, that's basically it. And then I show in this video, this one here, the Super B, Quick Tip Super B, I show the processor exactly where it is on that board. and that's the component that needs to be reflowed to the PDB. Close enough. I'm sorry if I messed it up. Yeah, I haven't been doing. I took a. I'll be honest with you. I took a little break just from everything. I kind of felt like there was a point in time where it's like, all right, this isn't as enjoyable. So I'm just kind of took a little break away from YouTube. And I kind of went deep with Facebook. So like people that were having troubles, I was getting a hold of them. Like, you working on it now, and then and calling them and stuff like that. So I was spending a lot of my free time helping people directly. Let's jump back over here to the bench. I don't really have a I don't really have a lot to share as far as stuff on the bench or things like that. Let me see if I yeah, that's better a little bit. So I still need this HD0 Whoop bundle. I still need to flash firmware to it because I like to have everything on the same. I need to update my goggles because there's a new release for the goggles, so your boot up time isn't so long. And then once I upgrade the firmware on the goggles, I'll go through and upgrade all of the other VTXs. So I think that's about the last thing I need to do to this guy, besides just race and have fun. He turned out pretty good. Nice and clean. This is the Mobula. This is the Mobula 7 V4 frame. The only thing I don't like about this frame is the battery tray is too big, so the batteries slide around pretty easy. But on the other hand, it doesn't rip your labels off. And then I just put a little rubber band around one of these legs when I'm racing, so the battery doesn't eject. But that's what that's for. Keeps that tidy in there, yeah. BT 2.0, 90 degrees off of that, and then I put a little hot glue between the pins, and then I shrink tube it a little bit, and then everything is that way. I don't know if you noticed, but the BT 2.0 leads coming out of the back, if they rotate, they'll touch. So you want to make sure that you put a little hot glue or epoxy or something to keep them from rotating into each other. But other than that, oh, yeah, I'm going to have to get my prop popper. I just noticed that. Anybody notice something about this quad? Hold on, let me plug it in. Anybody notice something? I hold it like that. Does that make it more obvious? I put the props on backwards. I got my purples in the back and the greens in the front. Yeah, a little time to reset the brain. Trying to think of, like, what are people having the most issues with, and what do people need to know? Anybody else have any questions, or is there a certain thing on the channel that piqued your interest you want to know about? Is everybody excited sharing my community challenge? I'm thinking the community challenge, I'd like to go further with it as like 2025. I want it to be good. I want it to have some value. So I don't want to just kind of throw it out there and kind of make it up. So, but anybody got any questions? Because I'm gonna end the live stream here. I know I'm on a little bit of a delay for some reason today. I think normally I don't live stream early in the day. I appreciate it, Apache. Have a great day. All right, well, if nobody has any questions, I'll go ahead and wrap things up, and then I look forward to anybody in here that's going to show up at the race on Sunday. Look forward to racing this with you. Try not to bump into you. Yeah, EBR, you're, what is it, 10 o'clock? Is it 10 o'clock where you're at? Anybody, I see there's 13 people in here. EBR FPV's got just, it's amazing to watch your videos from, just a year ago or even 2 years ago to now. The way you dive in through the trees, and then like before you would like, oh, I gotta pull out, I gotta pull out and, get out of that dive sooner. And now it's like so tight, so smooth, so close to the ground. Man, you come a long way. It's like having a coffee, watching your rip. It's just gotten so smooth. So everybody go check his channel out. He's got a lot of videos. Get us some race footage. You know what? I should get some race footage. I think I was waiting on race footage from last week or the week before. He didn't send it to me. I'm gonna have to DVR some race footage. 9:30 p.m. I was close. 21. See, it's 11:40. No. Yeah, 21:40. Yeah, definitely. EBR's got some good content. You're welcome. Technique. How you doing, man? Welcome to the live stream. I was just wrapping it up. I got everything done. I felt bad because I started this build on my last live stream, and this is like the first time I've ever done like a hangout while I'm building something or messing around with something, like, hey, come out and hang out and watch me work on something. That's the first time I ever did it, and I had to cut it short because I had to run and get one of my kids. And so I left everything sitting here except for the LEDs. I did the LEDs off film because that was tedious. So I came back today to finish the live stream to like get it all done, and it's done. This dude's ready for Sunday's race. Actually, I'm gonna run some packs through it. Probably 20 to 30. Excuse me. H2O, how you doing? Welcome to the live stream. So you're just listening in while you're driving. Yeah, you're welcome. Man, yeah, don't look at your screen. Just listen in. Yeah. Technique, you at the post office sending out all them giveaways. Check them out. That's what is that? Can you put the is that Fly Zone FPV with Quad Mafia? Just got a beta FPV Pavlo 25. Would be cool. Be interested to review your race footage in here. Maybe get and give pointers. I do have one of my. I do have some footage on my channel. I mean, it's the same. It's the same build. It's the UWL. This is the freestyle. So this quad that I just finished building. This is the freestyle video of it at a YMCA park, and then the drone racing here, and then this UFO video. That's same quad. This holiday video, same thing. This was my first HD0 UWL build. UDL. Good grief. This is analog. But yeah, I think So this is my most recent race practice. Man, commercials. So this is real time. Like I didn't speed this up or slow it down or anything. This is just raw footage. I didn't edit or put overlays or make it cool looking. I just I just put some music to it. But this is the raw footage off the DVR. Um, Man, it's so fun. You know, this is Gap's training ground, man. He don't mess around. He's he's tirelessly thinking all the time about FPV racing. Yeah, raw footage is the best. I have to admit. I've seen some pretty awesome edits, uh, but usually when it's just freestyle flow and stuff like that, I like to hear the motors too. Yeah, so that was super fun. I always enjoy the shop hanging out. I would say that the biggest thing, like if I had to think about like what would be my number one thing to tell somebody, that's like what's the number one thing? Make sure I got the right transition here. Um, the number one advice I would give to somebody that's trying to like do better at racing, try not to pull your throttle down so much. Think of your quadcopter as like a jet ski. I rode a jet ski once in my life, and I realized very quickly that you must apply power to have control, and that's kind of the same thing. You want to change your roll and pitch. So, like if you're wanting to lose altitude, but you're taking a gate, you want to have your motor spinning up. But if you change the angle of attack, you can descend even though you're giving it power. Um, I think that's the thing that a lot of people have a struggle with when they're racing. If you notice, if you stand over somebody that's doing a really good job racing, if you stand over top of them, you'll notice that like when their hands are on the sticks, you'll see that their hands are like this and they're like this. Okay? But you see that thumb, that thumb isn't moving. Like a newer pilot, you'll see this. You'll see this a lot. They'll be doing this a lot. But if you watch people's thumbs that are, you watch some pros fly, they're like this, and you might see like one of them or something like that. But normally this is the thumb that's just going at it. And the reason why is because they're trying to keep these motors spinning up. They keep that gyroscope so that this thing has like awesome authority. I think that would be the one thing, like if you're doing pretty good and it's like, hey, I can make it through a track pretty efficiently, and now I'm wanting to challenge other people, right? I want to compete with other people. I think that's where I would go. If you're really new starting out and you're just banging in the gates, or you're going really fast and you're hitting the wall, you just need to take your camera angle and turn it down, or you need to go into your radio and do a throttle limit. Check in on chat here before I get too winded. Yeah, in freestyle, yeah. So like power loops, or you're just doing a trick and you're like just powering in and out of it, but you're changing your pitch and roll so that the quad doesn't behave. I don't know. Maybe I should get my microphone and all that gear and go get my 7-inch. You know? Oops. I got something going on here. Yeah, power loop. So you're going up, you're just holding, you're just pushing that forward the whole time. Yep. Yep, getting that altitude just right, and you're just keeping that altitude and as a new pilot, and you're just wanting to. I always start people off as a hover. I always tell them like take a sheet of paper and put it on the wall with a circle drawn about that big. Just take a Sharpie and make a circle in a white piece of paper, stick it on the wall, and then hover so that that circle is in your view and you don't drift away. And then once you get that, go back and forth to it. And then, like you said, technique, just keep that hover point and just use pitch and roll to move around the room. Because the brain is like, all right, I predicted that movement, so I could roll, and if I roll a certain amount, I descend. So I know that that's where I need to pick up my throttle. It's all your movement and your counter movement. There was a long amount of time between that, but with ELRS, it's almost instantaneous. So there's not as much correction needed. Fun per volt, ELRS 2.4 RX T antenna. Is that a dipole? So this is this what you're talking about? The VTX antenna? ELRS, let me read that again. ELRS 2.0 RX T antenna. You talking about this? This antenna for the 2.4? Yeah, so this is the 2.4 antenna. And at the time, I don't know now, but at the time for the Happy Model was working really closely with ELRS. And this was the antenna that the manufacturer said was the best. And then they did a bunch of testing. They said this was the best antenna, and that's 2.4. Then this because this is all in one. There's actually a 2.4 gig antenna that comes out of here for that. Yeah, so don't throttle ain't everything. You can raise and descend with or without it. See, PropsOff fly a whoop the way I fly. Mode 3? No. You're not one of those guys, are you? So mode 3 is that pitch. So this would look down and this would look up. Is that right? Instead of pitch down, this would be pitch up. No way. I played Call of Duty with a guy that had that set up, and I would always have to make him change it. RP3RX or RP1. So I have an RP1 in my other build. Fun per volt, RP3 or RP1. What do you mean? Because I have the EP1, I have the RP1, and then I have the Tico, which is just the crystal oscillator doesn't get hot. That's a big deal. Like if you can, I would recommend getting that one because it the oscillating crystal doesn't get hot, so the 2.5 or 2.4 gigahertz signal, it's not deviating very far. And for me, it makes sense because I like to wrap mine with shrink tubing and I like to stuff it under the camera or somewhere. and it's inevitably going to get hot because it does have 10 milliwatt transmitting power. Now, if you have some of the better receiver, the more ranged receivers, you might be looking at 50 to 100 milliwatt output, telemetry output. So then it gets really hot. But the EP1 has a 10 milliwatt output. So if it's a hot day and you got that thing buried, it'll heat up. Speaking of ELRS, has anyone had any link issues with 3.5? Had to put myself back to 3.4. Interesting. I have not tested the newest version of ELRS. I don't know. Right now, I'm kind of at a standstill as far as beta testing stuff because I don't have the money to break things. Sorry about that. People coming and going. Gotta run. Have a great day, everyone. Technique, man. Take it easy. The antenna that comes on the RP1 and the RP3 is the T antenna. Are they dipole? Yeah. Yes, it's just a double throw. Should have one here on my desk. I've torn enough of them up. What he's talking about is the antenna here. So the coaxial comes out here and then it splits in two different directions. So those are just dipoles. So EBR, you're running the 3.5. So link issues. Man, when it comes to link issues, it could be so many things. Binding issues. The binding also, there's a lot of variables in that. That's probably right now probably the most asked thing right now in is binding. People are having problems with it binding up or having signal fail safes, things of that nature. So with that said, does ELRS 2. Use the same length antenna as other? Yeah. Yeah, that's the quarter wavelength. That's 32.8. Now there was a big, like I'll argue with whoever for a second, but I'll just agree to disagree. There was a big discussion a while back about, what's the perfect 2.4 gigahertz antenna length. People that were involved in the conversation are you're talking Bruce from XJet. There was, I think Stu was talking a little bit about it. Lee from Painless. There was a lot of prominent people, that had went through and tested it. I've tested it myself on a couple different builds where I just cut different lengths and then did a range test. 32.8. And that goes for any of the gear. That's the wavelength, the bandwidth, that's the wavelength of where you need to be. And that's why I said with the ELRS receivers that have an oscillating crystal, so the 2.4 gigahertz signal, you don't want it to deviate. You don't want it going 2.5, 2.6, So as that component heats up, it changes. The hotter it gets, the more it changes. Because with heat, you have more current, so on and so forth. So you want to keep that the same. So as far as like antenna length, 2.4 gigahertz antennas. Let me see. Do I have one? I should have like a couple of them sitting here. So like here's an antenna, for example. Um, this is the coaxial part. So then I'll just go in and I'll remove the ground strap at 32.8. So I'll measure exactly 32.8 and I'll remove that whole ground sheath. So the active element is exactly 32.8 millimeters. Does that make sense? And then the rest of this ground, the signal can't get out. This little spot right here isn't an issue, you know, like if you're direct soldering it. But that's the other thing. Like on your root boards, I've seen video where people show they resolder their antenna and there's a whole bunch of exposed at the bottom. So then they have a, you know, X amount of wire exposed at the bottom and then the active element at the top. That usually doesn't go over too well. So you want to use a regular dipole antenna for the RP3 diversity. A regular dipole antenna. So you're wanting to use like a just a regular receiver antenna. That one's got ripped off. Right? You're not talking about that, are you? Element and Bell. This is a 5.8 gigahertz. That Bell is an attenuator. Let me grab my antennas here. So here's a pack of antennas. These are the ones that I had recommended when I was done with all the testing and stuff. So you have the IPEX right here. It's the IPEX. That's the 32.8 active element coming out, and that I've put that on my rescue drone. I've put these on my other quads. Right now with my ELRS, like I said, I was fortunate enough to win a gift card to 533, and I bought all the EPRP stuff. I didn't get any of the nice stuff what you're talking about. Use the dipole RX for negative. Positive wave capture. I got you. Okay. Yeah, it's always handy to have those dudes on board. Because they'll work in a pinch. Well, any other questions? I'm gonna have to get going. It's already 4:00. I just finally got some free time where I could get this thing done. It's been I'll be honest with you, it's been sitting on the bench for a while. Well, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and sign off here. I hope everybody, you know, shares my community challenge, and also if you're not subscribed, I see 12 people in here, so if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. It helps me a lot. I'm hopeful to get to 10,000 at some point in time, because that's the threshold that the manufacturers have held over my head before I can test out prototype stuff and make it awesome before it goes to market and makes all these new people mad and quit. So that's kind of my goal. Hit that 10,000 mark, and that way they'll, I don't know, just whatever, for whatever reason, that's what they want. So please subscribe, notification bell if you're interested in checking on my live streams, because I'm kind of spontaneous. If I get free time, I'll do it. But yeah, definitely. And everybody in chat, everybody check out their channels, and I appreciate everybody swinging by and hanging out with me while I finished up that build. Y'all have a great day and enjoy the breeze.